guys through the restoration of a salt gun. We just got in a prime example here just the other day. It's a little 28 gauge pigeon. Man bought off the internet, and boy, if I'd have seen it, I'd have bought that thing in a minute because he got a good price on it. It's going to cost a little money to fix it up, but when it's done, you guys know what 28 gauge pigeon goes with 28-inch barrels. Now this is a pretty rough little gun. It's got a lot of salt damage. I've seen them a lot worse, but it's a bad one. And we're going to start in the very beginning here and show you what we do to repair one of these little guns and go through the whole series of a restoration on a salt gun. Okay, fellas, here's one of the hardest parts of a salt gun is trying to get out these screws. They rust in. This one's coming out. Oftentimes they don't. Sometimes they'll twist off. Sometimes we just have to cut the stock off. And this one came out. There's what you look for when you're looking for salt. If you're out there in the field and you want to test a gun, just pull a butt plate screw out and that'll tell you in a minute if it's salt. Alright, we're going to pull this receiver out and see what we've got to deal with here. Out she comes. Oh yeah, that's your classic salt gun. Got lots of rust up in there. This is a bad gun. They get a lot worse, but we're going to run through the whole repair of this gun, and you'll just be amazed at how good it's going to come out. So that's what we're working with, 28 gauge pigeon. Okay, we're getting just a little bit of a close-up shot of all the rust we've got. Now we're going to glass bead this off, and we'll really see how much pitting we've got in there. I want to show you that, you know, this is just a classic. Now the forearm on this little gun is just clean as it can be. There's no salt at all. When it comes to salt cured wood, it can be one piece, both pieces, one or the other. Thing to look for on these forearms is rust around your escutcheons. That's the first place it'll go on a salt gun. And of course, you know, you get the rust around the ears and the bracket and the barrels. But that's a good place to look on a salt gun when you're just out in the field at a gun show somewhere. That's something you always got to watch for. So there she is. Okay, as you fellas can see, this is a gorgeous piece of wood we've taken off of this gun. But now if we were to send that back to our customer or do something along that line, it will end up back out there at a gun show or something and on your gun, so we don't want that. So we take care of that by giving it this here. We're going to deactivate this thing all the way. Now I ran a salt test on this piece of wood here just a minute ago when I broke it off. And as we put that silver nitrate on it, you can see how it's starting to turn white. Now this gun's not a real salty one, so it's not turning a pure white, but it's getting a milky look to it, so that's definitely a salt gun. And we're going to take it from here. Alright, we're going to break this little gun down and get it all torn down here, and then we can see what we're up against. And we got some special milling processes we need to do on it, and we're going to do all that. And then we're going to head for the Sandblaster to get this rust off of here, so we can see just what we're up against. And we'll be showing you that in just a second here. Okay. Okay, the next process here is to disassemble this little gun. We're going to get it all broke down and get all the parts out of it. And we're headed to the Sandblaster from here. It's actually a glass bead machine with a number 13 beads, real fine. Doesn't affect engraving, but it will clean that rust out of there, so we'll show you that in the next step. Okay, here we are at the Sandblaster, our glass bead cabinet. We're going to get this little gun in this cabinet, close her up, and we're going to bead blast off that rust so we can see what we've got to work with here. This will get it cleaned up and get all that rust out. Okay, we've just gotten back from the glass bead cabinet, and we have bead blasted all the rust off this gun. Now, as you can see, it is not too bad at all. I've got a little patch of pitch right in here that's kind of eating away the edge, and we're going to heliarc that up and dress it down to restore that metal in that area. But this little gun, you never know what you're up against until you bead blast them off. Then you get that rust off, you can see what you're up against. I thought this gun was worse than it is, but this gun is not very bad at all. So we're going to head from here to the welding shop, and we're going to replace some metal that's missing right there. Okay, fellas, we're down here in the weld shop, and we've got our little heliarc all fired up and ready to go. We've got the right rod we need to weld this with, so we're going to put a little bead of weld on this bad area and restore some of that bad metal on there. Here we go. Alright, we're going to anneal that little spot that I just welded. This is just a regular old acetylene torch here, and we're going to put some heat on this weld area here. And it's going to anneal that area and make everything blend in better once it's regrade, and just part of the process. Okay, we welded this little receiver, and we had one little bad spot right here where the edge of the metal was all corroded away with rust. We're going to be dressing this machining down this weld spot, and we're going to head over to the mill next to do all that. Now we'll do one down the road here where you'll see on the next salt gun we do this, we're going to be welding all of these areas in through here. This is a real mild case, but I'm going to show you fellers a bad one here on the next one we do. But we're heading from here to the milling machine. Alright, we're in the milling process now. We're going to run this cutter up in here and run it down the side of this receiver and clean up that little weld spot I've got on it. This machine is set up specifically for making these cuts. And we're going to clean this side of this receiver up just perfect. And then we're going to make one other little special cut after this. So this is the process here. Okay, we're going to make a special cut up inside the receiver here. This is going to cut out for some ears on the stock. It's just a little modification we make on them that improves the stock fitting, makes it go on straighter and stay better. So we got a special cutter and a special setup we use for this. I'm going to run it in and make that special cut, and I'll show you what it looks like after the finished product. Okay, we've removed this little receiver from the milling machine, and we made a special cut up inside the receiver here, and that's going to facilitate these ears on these stocks, which keeps them from splitting and spreading out. Just a little extra we do on them. And we ran a milling cutter down the side of this receiver to remove the weld that was there. Now we're all cleaned up, and this receiver is just going to need just some of the borders stamped back on. We haven't really lost any engraving. We're going to have to stamp a border back here. And that's really about all we have to do. Then we're going to reassemble it, and from there it goes to the stock maker, and he's going to make the new stock for it. So here we go. Alright, we're going to just touch up the borders on this little gun a little bit. They have a little scroll type of a border that goes around it, and that's really about all it's lost in the welding process. And also we're going to touch that up, replace that so it all looks factory again, and we're ready from here to start fitting a stock. So that's the final process. Okay, as you can see, we've run a line of border stamps, right? The border was removed off this side after we took the pitting out. So we just re-stamped this area, this line of stampings here, which is kind of a minor replacement, and then we had to re-stamp it along this edge here where the weld was to replace the stampings that were taken off. And the engraving's all good. This gun really isn't going to have any serious engraving done on it, so it's pretty much a gravy job for a salt gun. Alright, we're going to just take a few minutes out here and reassemble this gun, and after it's all put back together, it's going to go into the wood fitting process to have the new salt-free stock installed, and this little gun will be getting well down the road to being put back like factory new condition. Okay, we're now going to start on the fitting process. Now all the stocks that we fit on these guns, there's no wood available from Browning any longer, superposed or obsolete. So we have these semi-inlet stocks made up, and as you can see, they're just kind of roughed out. They have to be fit, shaped, sanded, checkered, and finished. And we picked out a nice stock here with some nice figure in it, something to be about right for pigeon grade. We don't want to go too overboard. But that's a good pigeon grade. So we're going to commence to fit this stock up, and after we get it all fit up and checkered, we'll show you the finished product, because there's a lot of work involved in getting this fit up. So we'll be working on her. Okay, well, we've got this stock ready to go down to the finisher, and we've been working on the metal, and we've graved this receiver. I got to assemble it yet, but the salt damage has all been repaired. It's been all inletted and fit to the stock. So while the woodman is doing his thing on the wood finish, we're going to assemble this gun and get it ready to, so when he's done with his process, we'll be ready to put it together and send it out. Now, we've already graded this gun, and we've upgraded and high graded a lot of the parts so they all look factory. We cross-hatch them and bring them up to a shine. Of course, we gold plate the trigger. That's part of the operation. And so now it's just a matter of assembly, putting it together, and getting everything buttoned up and checked over. And we'll be waiting for our wood guy to get his end of the bargain done. And in about 3 weeks, we're going to wrap this little project up. All right, we're just proceeding right along with this little salt gun repair. I've got a guy that I send my wood fitting out to, and he's had this about, I don't know, 2 or 3 months, but we got it back today. And the stock's been fit to the receiver, and now it's checkered, all inletted and fit. And we've got the FN butt plate on it, so everything looks original and factory. We have to make these stocks up because there's just none out there. That superposed is an obsolete gun. So we're going to head down to the refinishing shop and show this to Gary and get him the finishing on it, and we're getting ready to wrap this little project up. I can't wait to see it done. Okay, Gary, what are you up to today?
Oh,
the same old thing. Hey, look, we got a new project for you.
Okay.
This little stock here has just been fit to a nice little Pigeon 28 gauge. Pretty stock, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Look at that, isn't it pretty? Form's rather plain, but that's okay. That's the way they are. Need to get this finished up in a gloss finish.
Okay.
Get them color matched together real good, and we got to get going on it. This thing's been hanging around quite a while, and going to need to do some final sanding. It's just kind of rough sanded now.
Okay.
But she's checkered and ready to go, pretty much finished up in here. Let's get that thing going and get it out. This man's hot to see it, and so am I.
We'll get it in the works right away.
10-4.
Thank you.
Well, fellas, we've been spraying wood today, and one of our projects here is this little Pigeon salt gun we put a new stock on. I've got some finish on it here today. Been spraying here quite a bit today. And we've got a ways to go on it, got a few coats on it, but we're going to build it up a little bit, stuff it down, buff it, and give it that nice browning gloss look. So we're getting pretty close on it. Going to be wrapping it up any day now. All right, fellas, we finally got this little salt pigeon gun fixed up and ready to go. My son's over here holding it in his little hands, and I'm going to try to zoom in on so I can kind of show you what we've done here. This is the new stock, and as you can see, we put something on it with, it's kind of hard to see it, but you can see it's got a little figure in it, something not too overbearing on a pigeon grade. We repaired all the salt damage to the metal, and as you can see, that gun just virtually looks like a new one. And we've gold plated the trigger, that's just part of it. We've refinished that receiver, we finished the forearm so it would have a color match, and match that new stock. But as you can see, that gun is looking just a whole lot better than it did in the beginning. I'll have him swap it around and we'll show you the other side where a lot of the salt damage was. And oh, that stock's, I think, even got a better figure on this side. That's pretty good stuff right there. Not anything just too overbearing, but a nice piece of wood. Made that stock up from scratch and checkered it. And here's the side of the receiver. It had quite a bit of salt damage on it, and that's all been kind of taken care of and repaired. And finished the forearm. There again, we didn't blue the barrels, so they really weren't too bad. This little gun really wasn't that bad after we got into it. But if you keep an eye on my website, I've got a really rough pigeon grade we're getting ready to start on here this coming week, and I'll show you what a rough one's all about.